We should all enjoy a little automation in our lives. It saves time, helps us feel more comfortable, and saves us money. But not every residential containment unit is the same. If you live in an apartment, you're not likely allowed to do much in the way of modifying your wiring. But you can still have a smart home, a smartment if you will, and you can do it for a reasonable price when you consider how much it may save on your electricity in the long run. Having the ability to control and monitor our power usage helps us behave better in addition to automating efficiency. Here I have my simulated apartment, a very, very small apartment, but you can scale to suit the needs. In order to demonstrate what I think are the most basic and fundamental smart home components, I'm going to set up 4 things. A smart bulb for fixtures you can't modify, smart plugs for more or less anything else, a smart button to control the devices in a variety of ways, and Home Assistant so you can have cloudless local automation for flexibility and reliability. Before I begin, I want to note a couple things. I have set up one of these smart plugs on a previous video, and I have set up one of these buttons for my wife, but I have never opened either of these smart bulbs. Everything here is being opened for the first time on this video, with the exception of the button, which I charged prior to shooting this just in case, even though it will be plugged in for the setup portion. Lastly, I usually script my videos before shooting, even if it's after or during the thing I'm showing, and everything up to this point was done this way. But I wanted to do a straight-through process from scratch without missing any steps, so if I run into any issues, well, you'll be along for that stuff too. I believe this will go quite smoothly and not take long at all, but you never know. Let's make a smart apartment. Set that aside. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to need for our smart apartment is a smart network. So, I've already set up an old favorite of mine to serve as our smart apartment network. So I'll go ahead and plug that guy in right there. And I'm going to turn these on. I don't know what this is going to do with the camera. It's going to be really bright. But, you know, you can see they work. I have a little GFCI breaker back here, 10 amp, just in case to protect this little rig that I have. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take the normal bulbs out. Set these aside for a moment because I also need a laptop in order to oh, I should have left that on, but that's okay. All right, so and I will show the screen when I get into this part here. Didn't really plan that very well, did I? Actually, I'm going to go ahead and open all of these just so that I have them. That's such a neat little button. I haven't mounted my Shelly buttons. I only own 2 of them at the moment. I haven't mounted them to anything because I actually really like kind of just putting this in my pocket and taking it where I need. I planned on using this one for the studio, but now I'm using it for this, and I have a couple other ideas for it, but I'll do videos on those later. The other one is for my wife, and she uses it in the kitchen, depending on the time of day, to do different things, and she rather likes it. This one's neat. Oh, this one's really neat. I might just save that one for last because it looks so cool. There's another one that they have that's larger. I think it's about that large, and it has a curly, might be a little bit larger than that. I can't remember what the size on it was, but it was a bit large for this, and I don't have anywhere to put it yet. I want one, but I don't have a place to put it. And then this is the Duo. So this is more than likely, if you were setting up a smart apartment where you couldn't do any modification and you wanted to have light control, smart bulbs are probably the first thing that you would go to. I wouldn't recommend these if you can avoid them, only because when the bulb goes out, you're throwing out an awful lot of electronics with it. And I may look at the possibility of refurbishment, but that's later on down the road. For now, I am going to just put this one in here. But before I even start turning on any of these devices, I am going to install Home Assistant. Now, the way that I am going to install Home Assistant isn't necessarily the way most people are going to. The way that I am doing it, I am doing because of this demonstration, and this is going to be the Home Assistant that I use for my test network from now on. I'm going to be installing it in a virtual machine, running on VirtualBox, running on my Linux laptop, and then attaching that to this isolated smart apartment network, and then setting up each of these devices so that you can get an idea of what it might look like. Router out of the box, even though you'll probably have a newer one. And then a fresh install of Home Assistant. So really it's the onboarding and on that's most valuable here, although I will show how I do the virtual machine installation and all that as I go, simply because I want to try to do this straight through to get a good idea of the time. So hopefully it's not super boring or riddled with issues, inconsistencies, errors, or other malpractice. I really like, I didn't like smart plugs before this. I liked them when I bought my first one. I thought it was so neat, and the app that came with it was kind of neat, but then the more I thought about it, I liked the app idea less and less and less. And then I destroyed one by breaking into it, and I was pretty upset by that. The form factor I always thought was pretty clever for most of them. Most of them follow this same sort of thing, at least in the United States. In the UK, they're even cooler because they're round to match the socket and plug arrangement. And I'm glad that Shelly gave me a reason to like these again. If you haven't seen the video, I've already talked about the smart plug in. You should check that out. There are cheaper smart plugs available, and there is one that is, you can put Tasmota on it, the S31. I didn't like, it's not a bad plug, but it's not a good one either, in my opinion. The electronics that I found when I opened one of these up, which I haven't done a video on yet, and I may still do so, were higher quality components, just down to the very component level. And I like Shelly's firmware. It does the same thing Tasmota does, and more out of the box. Much nicer UI. You can be cloudless with it. So, you know, like mine, I'm not even saying that I trust them implicitly. I isolate all of my smart devices. So the fact that they work locally without being connected to the internet is the real key. And the interface that they have to do so is very, very good in my opinion. And the features that they enable are also good. As well as, you will see, if you've seen the other video, you already know, you will see a little bit more in depth in this video. They integrate with Home Assistant much, much faster. It's pretty instantaneous, actually. So let me quit blathering and let's get Home Assistant installed on here. Now, there are a couple steps that you may have to go through if you wanted to do what I am doing here, which is, oops, if you wanted to run a virtual machine, you need to have the CPU virtualization turned on in the BIOS on your machine. I will probably link to instructions on how to do that, generally speaking. I'm running this on a ThinkPad. It's pretty straightforward. You go in, you find your CPU settings, you find virtualization, enable it, save and exit your BIOS. To get into the BIOS, at least in this generation, you just simply hit enter on startup to interrupt normal startup, and then I think it's F10 or F1. No, it's F1. F1 to go into setup, and then you can just browse through the menus. If you're somebody who goes into BIOS to do things, this is not new to you. And if you're not, you may want to do a little bit of reading before you do it and understand what it does when you turn it on. So I've already done that here. I've already enabled that. And I believe, let me check. Oh, I'm not recording. Let me start my screen recording. And again, I apologize. This bit's going to be boring. Okay, I am screen recording. I believe I already installed VirtualBox. Oh, no, I did not. Okay, so I can install everything from scratch. I will spare you the download, even though it's not very large. I already have it downloaded, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so, and if you're running not Linux, then I'll have installation instructions for Windows as well, if that's something that you wanted to do. Although I recommend, going the Raspberry Pi route, although I've heard a lot of mixed emotions about using SD cards for that sort of thing, but that's what backups are for. And if you're using Raspberry Pis for things, you expect failures. If you're using microcontrollers, if you're using electronics, you expect failures. So let's see here. And I'm getting messages on Discord while I'm recording. All right. So install VirtualBox here. See, this is where it gets really exciting because I'm not talking or doing anything. I did do this on another machine just to test the timing of it, and it was pretty quick. That machine was not this machine, but I expected this machine to perform better. That's what you get for having expectations. If I do jump, I really don't want to edit this part. I want you guys to see, and gals and everything in between, I want you guys to see how long this takes in real time, because you could have a smart apartment, there we go, you could have a smart apartment in a day. I mean, shipping, budgetary constraints, those sort of things notwithstanding. Okay, so now that I have VirtualBox, I already have the VDI, so let me just go ahead and grab that, and I'm going to put that in a new folder, actually. I'll have to go back and see if there's anything there awful that I want to hide. You're not listening to me when I tell you to do things? Oops. Okay. Let's do this. This will take just a minute. Yeah, this machine is running quite a bit slower. Okay. No, I didn't need to do that. I don't know why I did. Close that. Close that. And then I should be able to start VirtualBox. Okay. And then this is, there's a little bit of trickiness here. Oh no. I don't know what that command is that I need to run to turn the discard on. I wonder if I can do that through the UI. Okay. Well, we'll see. All right, so may have run into an issue. I didn't want to have to go searching for things, but we're going to say smart apartment HA. Why not? And this is going to be Linux, and we're going to go up here and choose the 64-bit, and let's give it 3 gig. Oops. Why are you not letting me type there? Give it 3 gig of RAM. It wants 2 virtual processors. It wants EFI, so you don't have to do that later. Use an existing one. Add HA test. Add our VDI. Choose that guy. Next. Finish. Okay, now we'll go into the settings. And there's a few things that it wanted us to do in here. The first of which, let me look at this and see if it'll let me do this. SATA port 0. It's dynamically allocated, and I think that's the problem, right? Is it wants it to not be dynamically allocated? You know what? I'm going to leave it. I did a thing the last time, and maybe I should do the same thing that was successful for sake of the video. But I can also say that they said that in the article that I read that connecting to the Wi-Fi didn't work, and it does. So, and I had to in order to update it, because this network will not have, the smart apartment network will not have internet. Okay, so I think that's all I need for now. So let's go ahead and start it. And if this, oh wait, we have an error. Oh, maybe I didn't do that. Okay, well, I can't screen share that. So let me stop this recording. I do have to do the BIOS thing. I was on the other machine when I did this. So that's awful. This is going to take just a moment. I'm powering down the machine. No. Doggone it. I'm still going to, I think I'm going to let this ride. I don't think I'm going to edit this. If I don't edit this, and you think I should have edited this, please let me know in the comments. If by not editing this, I've included what you ultimately wanted to see, please let me know in the comments. Also, if you disagree with the way I've formatted this video, please let me know by hitting the like button. Otherwise, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Okay, interrupting normal startup. Yeah, so it's F1, and then this is for those of you who care. This is a T480S. All right, so in the main config, nope, under config. So you go right, go down to CPU. Oh wait, no, that's not it either. Where is it? Oh, it's under security. Security virtualization. And I'm going to use that. And I'll go ahead and turn on directed I/O. I don't think I actually need it, but we will see. Computer is now restarting, so I should be able to turn the screen share back on momentarily. This is super exciting. Thank you for bearing with me. If you've made it this far and you haven't already, maybe subscribe to the channel, of course. Look, I'm trying to fill space. Please forgive me. Okay. And we're rebooted because Linux. Now, I say that, and some people may groan. This is not a new machine by any stretch of the imagination, nor is it particularly powerful. So, there we go. Okay, and we're back. So, I'm going to open up a browser just to be prepared. Let's open up VirtualBox and let's start our machine. And hopefully, aha! Huzzah! Success and loveliness. Now, there is something that will probably happen once this is done. After it sets up for the first time, it's going to want to take the role of being Home Assistant on my network because I have it on the public network long enough to get the updates that it needs to take it off of the public network, put it on the smart apartment network. That's not a step that you'll have to do. That's a step I have to do because I already have a primary Home Assistant and I'm not trying to add any supplemental installations or anything like that, which I don't even know if that's a thing. Although I have been toying with the idea of trying to do that. Maybe another video. Okay, and we should be good to go now. Except that I don't know what the... Okay, 57. Very good. 2.57. Oops. And I forgot we have to go to port 8123. And there we go, preparing Home Assistant. Now it says this can take up to 20 minutes, which is very misleading in my opinion because the last time that I did this, it wasn't getting DNS properly. So I sat and I waited for 20 minutes. And I shouldn't have, because it doesn't take 20 minutes. It's much faster than that, provided it can access all of the services that it tries to access in order to update itself on install and that sort of thing. Again, works fine after you get it set up and everything. You can take it off of the internet and run it just fine if you're like me and like to do that sort of thing. Otherwise, you can leave it on and it's fine as well. I find it to be pretty secure, and I really love the way that it manages all of my devices, gives me some really fantastic reporting. I am officially a believer in Home Assistant. Thanks, Bearded Tinker. Okay, so you remember how I said this does not take 20 minutes? Well, look what's happening. So I'm going to put in the command supervisor log, which I learned about from the internet. Everything looks fine. Of course it does. All right, well, I guess I'll keep waiting. In the interim, I want to see. I ordered light switches for this arrangement, but did not install them for two reasons. One, I got impatient. The light switches did not arrive until today. I built this yesterday. The other reason is there's not a lot of room on here. I could have reduced the number of outlets, but I don't know. I thought this thing was kind of neat. So that's why I don't want to plug this in yet. But that is such a very cool looking bulb. I do like that. I wonder how bright it is. So I have some similar ones, not by Shelly, but they're the similar type of LED for a small chandelier upstairs. Oh, here we go. We're up. And they're pretty bright. So I'm going to use the username owner and be really super. There we go. Ambiguous. Okay. We're going to call this Smart Apartment. Yeah, I don't care about that really. Well, okay, that's fine. I don't care if it knows about where I am-ish. It's not quite right, but that's close enough anyway. Okay. All good there. And I'm just going to skip this because it's not going to be on the internet anyway to do those things. Yeah, see, it wants to, we're not going to do any of that. Okay, so now I'm going to stop that. So that's Home Assistant. We have Home Assistant now. And I'm going to properly give this thing a shutdown message. Then I will start turning these on because I'm going to have to switch the Wi-Fi network anyway in order to connect to them to tell them to get on the new network as it is, which perhaps I should, oh wait, I'll wait until this is done. All right, so we are shut down, and then I'm going to go to my device list. I'm going to turn this guy on, and look at that. Oh, the bulb is bright. My, is that bright. Ooh, wait, there it was. Shelly Bulb Duo, and some letters and numbers. Okay, so connect to that. Oops, try not to step on the power cord for the apartment. And then we should be able to go to 192.168.33.1. I normally do this on my phone, and it goes just fine. Couldn't get the time zone and all that, that's fine. I'm going to just go straight into here, connect the Shelly to Wi-Fi, give it the Wi-Fi name, all my circuits. Well, and I don't think this matters, but I'll do it anyway. Give it the password and save that. And now it should kick over to that network. So now I will switch over to all my circuits. Oops. 168.3.1. I hope that's, there we go. And let's take a look at, oh, it's been a while since I've been in this good status. Yeah, network, clients table, and there's my Duo. So I'll just grab that IP address. Now this part may vary, of course, depending on your device. And so actually, you know what? I'm not even going to log back into it. Not even going to log back into it. Didn't need to go through any of that because you'll probably notice that I have a notification. Oops, I have to refresh. Oh, right. I skipped a bunch of stuff here. Okay. I'm on all my circuits now. So let me start this guy because, oh, wait. Stop. No. Power off. No, wait, that's right. Okay, I'm sorry. I had this connected to a machine with an Ethernet connection too, which I don't have. I could have done that. Doesn't matter. Okay. So we'll start this, log into it. It should automatically pick up the Duo. If it doesn't pick up the Duo, it's because there needs to be a firmware update, and then it will pick up the Duo. Also, you need to generally enable COIoT, and that also does the job. And provide it with the This is taking a little bit longer to start than it normally does, but that's probably my fault for reasons. Are you stuck in a loop trying to synchronize the time? Okay, fine. Here, tell you what. I'll connect you back to the internet just long enough to get that taken. Okay, no, it just failed out. Boy, oh boy, that took long enough, didn't it? So let's go back over to all my circuits. Failure, as a very cool person once famously said, is always an option. Okay. Supervisor is starting. Okay, 105. So 3.105, 8123, and here we are. I should have clicked keep me logged in, but yes, I know. Okay, now with the Duo on the network, look at that. Check it out. Oh, well, yeah, sure, why not? We'll put that, this is the living room over here, just about like, so here's the living room, and then the office, and we have a little nook, right, and then the bathroom's probably over that way. I mean, if you only had two lights, where would you put them? Probably the living room and the bathroom, or the kitchen. The kitchen and the bathroom. Yeah. Yes, I know you don't like those things not being there, but that's okay. All right, so it doesn't pick it up. So now I will go over to the router, go back to the client list and take a look at that again to see what the IP address is. There's a bunch of different ways you can do this. You could do something like Fing on your phone. I won't go through all that. Usually they pick up though. Oh, come now, router. You can do it. There we go. I was gonna say, I know you're old, but 103. Okay, so now we'll go to 192.168.3. Now, the other thing that I'm not going to do on this network, I'm not going to bother setting passwords on these Shelly devices because I'm probably going to factory reset them and use them for other things eventually anyway. Or maybe I'll give them away. I have a couple friends who have apartments who, maybe they could use some plugs. Keeping the bulbs. Especially this one. I'm very much looking forward to that one because it's neat. And I really, really want to turn this off. So I'm just waiting for this to load now. Okay, good. Oh, there we go. Okay. I can dim it. Oh, this is neat. Okay, wait a minute. All right, so I have to play with this bulb for a second because I can go, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. That is clever. I like that. All right, so I'm going to take it down to about a very faint 7%. I wonder if that's flickering on the camera, though. I'm going to shut it off just in case. I can bring it up so you can see it when it's on. All right, so let's go to the settings, do a firmware update. No new firmware is available. Okay, so I'll flip over to the internet, go to advanced, let's see, where are you? Uh-oh. Do we have our first sign of trouble? Let's find out. So I haven't had to, I've had to do this with one other device. I think I had to do this with the door and window sensor. Because I think it had an older firmware. I think it would have picked it up if I would have done the update on that one first, but so maybe I just have to do this. So I'm going to search for Shelly, and then I'm going to give it that IP address, submit, using an unsupported firmware version. Oh no. Oh no. Has the ultimate thing gone sideways whilst I record this wonderful video on smart apartments that are simple to set up? I do believe I taste shoe. Okay. No new. I definitely don't want to do a factory reset. All right, let me reboot it. Let me reboot it. And I'm certain I can control it through MQTT commands. I hope they come out with a new firmware for this soon. Shelly. Or, you know, I guess, I don't know. Home Assistant. You guys, talk to each other. You could rule the world together. Boy, this takes a minute. Okay, so let's see if that's done anything. Has it done anything? No. Okay. Well, let's give this other one a go. I am surprised. Boy, that is so... I don't know how well you could see that. I mean, what am I doing? I can... Hopefully I just showed a picture of this because it's really cool looking. All right, so let's get this one set up. And it's probably going to come on, I suspect, which is going to be unpleasantly bright. Oh, that is quite bright. Okay, so now I do more of the same. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to find a network. Shelly Vintage. Look at that. Easy peasy, mac and cheesy. 192.168.33.1. And let's just go ahead and dim this guy. And then give it the Wi-Fi information. And hopefully this one doesn't have the same issue, but I suspect that it will because I see a lot of similarity in the interface. Obviously there's no color temp on this one. Oh, I see. I thought that filament was a different color, but it's not. They're sort of striped. Okay. So now we're back over to all my circuits. Come over here. I see no notification. Let's take a look at the client's table. There's the Vintage at 106. So I'll flip over to that, and now having internet, let's see if there's a firmware update available. There is not. There is not. And something tells me if I try to do it the manual way. You know what? I did it integration. I wonder if it matters if it's integration versus... Yeah, unsupported. Unsupported firmware version. Okay. So... that's disappointing. I'm not going to lie. I hope there's a firmware update soon. I will certainly be on the lookout for that. Or, if not a firmware update, a Home Assistant update, perhaps, that includes the firmware for these bulbs, because they are neat. I know there are a lot of other manufacturers out there. I like to stick to the same brand, not out of brand loyalty, just out of general consistency in product quality. And I don't have a problem with the quality of these bulbs, and I don't have a problem with the quality of the interface, and I don't have a problem setting up the MQTT ultimately, except that all of my other Shelly devices connect with Home Assistant so readily, which is probably Home Assistant creating the support for the Shelly devices, I think. I'm not sure. But I also know that most of my other Shelly devices have recently undergone some pretty big changes to their UI and some of their feature sets. And these don't look like that yet. So I wonder if it's a slow rollout situation. Maybe I'll post something on Twitter and see if Shelly will respond. I guess all I can do at this point is march on. So these are connected to the Wi-Fi. If you're a little bit more technical, you could dive in and make these work but not out of the box. These should work out of the box. So I'm going to go ahead and try one. So you just plug it in, and then I'm going to do the usual search for the Shelly named network, Shelly Plug US, connect to it. And I have 4 of these because the whole idea here was I was going to set this up with multiple circuits to show about how long it would take to set up what you see here. Obviously, I've run into a bit of a sticky wicket here. And I need to go to 192.168.33.1. And then we will put the plug, go to networks, Wi-Fi. So this is one of the ones, interestingly, this already has at least one of the 2 software updates that I'm aware of. This one allows the device to have 2 Wi-Fi networks and its own ad hoc still enabled while doing other things, which is brilliant. I love that because it allows me to stay connected to either the device or the network while I'm doing the configuration, and see if maybe I put a password in wrong and now it's forever in limbo because I misspelled the Wi-Fi password. That's not a problem anymore. Well done. Of course, I could still do the stupid thing and turn it off, and I'm going to, because I really super trust my own typing. Oh, that's interesting. It does a new thing. That's really cool. I didn't know that you could do that. Now, click here to select network. So I'll just go ahead and apply that. The Wi-Fi settings were changed. And now, so niftily enough, I believe, I could just go right in here, oops, into the device settings, go to firmware version, and check for update. Maybe not. I'm going to go ahead and disable the ad hoc. Why not? Oops. Access point. Disable the access point. Which I think that that's really cool too, because this might become a mobile thing. And if so, maybe I don't want to have a network for it all the time. And I could just log into one to turn it on and off, to turn on a light for, I don't know, something. I don't know. There's a lot of flexible ways you could use this. Some of them are probably a little bit Rube Goldberg, but there you have it. Let me go over to the Home Assistant, and it should have, mayhaps, well, let me, actually, I'm going to go over to the Clients table and just look, well, let's do this. Am I still, oh no, I'm still connected to the plug somehow. Or it thinks I am. Okay, so now our plug is at 107. Ta-da! Or not quite yet. This network may simply not like this situation, by the way. There it is. Okay, now let's take a device firmware version, check for update. I don't see that, so let's go back over here. And let's take a look at, which is it? Nope, that's WebSocket I want. I'm not sure where they put. Did they take it away? That's interesting. I wonder what the range extender is. Maybe it just boosts the power to the radio. Yeah, okay. I don't see channel settings. Oh boy, what is going on here? Oh, here we go. Check it out. It just took a minute. All right. I was getting nervous there because this worked very well before. I think my laptop is just not very happy about this situation. It's not the strongest laptop in the world. There it is. The plug. Now here, normally it would ask for username and password if you had it set up. And we're going to say, let's see, we're going to say that was the kitchen, right? Okay, so now let's do the rest of them in rapid succession, all successful. So now let's look. Okay, I closed the video and then I realized that out of my surprise at not being able to connect the two smart bulbs to Home Assistant, that I forgot the other device. And so, because it was behind my machine here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plug this into USB, which is not for data reasons. It's just to keep it on when you have power to the button. The Wi-Fi stays available. You can set it to stay available for 1 to 5 seconds after, this is a little bit, there we go, after you press a button, but then you'd have to press a button to wake it up. And I don't want to have to do that. So let me start my screen capture, and we will begin setting up the button. And this one, hopefully, Home Assistant will pick up quickly, and you can see it flashing there to let me know it's ready for me to do things. So I'll go over here. Oops, I didn't really need to do that. But there's the button. So let's go ahead and connect to the button. And then I'll go over here, go to 192.168.33.1. And go here. We'll set up all my circuits Wi-Fi. Save that. And then hopefully I can just switch to all my circuits. Make sure that is the correct IP address. Oh, it's 105. That's right. There we go. Log in to my Home Assistant, and no notifications just yet. I'm going to press a button and see if it does anything. Well, it's, wants to send data, but there's nothing to send the data to. Oh, I got a red light. So I wonder if I put my password in incorrectly. Uh-oh. Well, let's find out. Let's go to, I mean, why not? Why not more things go wrong? I think it would be 111. You know what? Let's just check the DHCP table. Why not? Status, local network, DHCP, and I do not see the button. I do not see the button. So, will it let me reconnect to the button? It won't. Uh-oh. Okay. I am not certain how to reset this guy. I see a little hole here. I wonder if I can just press and hold it long enough to do it, though. You would think there'd be some kind of backup, something to tell it to do that. Maybe unplugging it, holding the button, and then plugging it back in. It's flashing like it wants to send something, but then it's going red, so hold on. It did blink blue. A moment there. Okay. I might have to pop the back off here and pull the back. Oh wait, no, there it went. It finally did. The red wasn't going away, so I thought maybe I had somehow locked it up, but apparently that was not the case. Okay, by the way, the back comes off kind of like an old school watch case. Of course, I've goofed it a little bit now. And now I have to get it to sit flush again. There we go. Yeah, much better. Okay. So what I did was I held the button in, and then it started blinking blue. Ah, there it is. Button. Very good. So I'll connect to you. And then refresh. There we go. And then go to security, or internet and security. And then let's set this. And save it. And now I'm going to go ahead and plug this in just so that it's plugged in. Go back over here to Home Assistant, and hopefully I'm going to go ahead and press a button. It should just tell me that it can connect to the network, even if it doesn't send to anything, and there it is. I will configure the button, and then it asks where I want to put it. I'll put it in the living room, and then easy peasy. So now, if I wanted to, I can go in here, I can search for, I'm going to just unplug it, it doesn't need to be plugged in now. I'm going to search for button, and find this. I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to call it Remote Button 1, just because. Okay, and then I'm going to add an automation, and I'm going to say when button is single clicked, let's turn one of our kitchen plugs. Let's toggle it. Oops. Yep, let's do that. Let's say kitchen plug toggle. Okay, and now you should be able to see. I press the button. And it should have toggled the device. But I don't think these are connecting to the Wi-Fi. Oh, there it goes. I just heard it click. So it can take a couple seconds because it has to connect to the Wi-Fi in order to send the button press. So that's a little inconvenient. I don't know what could be done to speed that up. Oh, and that time it didn't connect at all. It went red on me. I think the Wi-Fi network that I'm using, I think that this, I could reshoot all of this. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video with a different router. I've been meaning to buy a newer one anyway, because I'm certain that this is, it's not the button. It's definitely the router. The connectivity and the slowness issues that I've been having are definitely this router. And it's not even the fault of this model or anything. This router has been through some things, and it was a shop router for many, many years in my fabrication shop. So it has bits embedded in it. The antenna is damaged a little bit. I should probably replace it, but anyway, so let's try this again, just one more time. I just dug that out to do this. And I have another one of those too that has DDWRT on it. Yeah, see, it now doesn't want to connect. But, you know, It's not very difficult. The button normally gets picked up a little bit faster. It did get picked up pretty quick. You know, once I switched it and I pressed the button and it sent out a message, Home Assistant picked it right up. So that's great. The plugs, the first plug, it picked up fairly quickly. I did something in there that made it kind of slow. The other three I was having trouble with. I think, again, because of the Wi-Fi, not because of the devices involved, and not even because of the model of this one, just because I've been abusive to it. And I'm sort of running the VM on a potato. So maybe I could have had a little bit better of an environment to show all of this. But even with the things that I ran into here, you know, I've spent maybe 2 hours in total doing this, and with a little extra code, not even code necessarily, just configuration really, I could get these working with this integration. And maybe I'll go ahead and do that. I'll do an extended video. Maybe I'll go ahead and try that real quick. And if it doesn't work, I'll just save it for later and do more research on it. Because otherwise, of course, I would have to install MQTT on this network. And you can install that through Home Assistant. The other problem is as soon as I put this on the public network, Home Assistant's going to want to do things. You know what? Let me go ahead and put it on the public network. I'm going to put it on the public network, and then I'm going to try... Actually, let's use the Smarter Circuits network. So I don't think there are any devices there that it'll pick up right away. And then... let me see if there's any updates to be had. Just in case. Oh. My IP schema is going to change. Right. Right. So if I'm on Smarter Circuits, am I on the 1? I think I'm on the 1. Yeah, I am. Oh. And this is the big, long, complicated one. So you know what? I'm not going to use this network. I'm going to use the different one. It's just a little bit easier. We'll use the inner ring network. Please bear with me. Boy, I'm just giving away all my secrets, I'm sure. But that's okay. I changed them enough that it doesn't matter. Half of these things are test networks. The only thing that remains is the isolated network, and I can't even access that through here. So, well, I can, but not without remoting into another machine. What was I doing? All right, so I'm set up on there. So now I need to find the address that and I thought that it put it on 238 before. Wow. Good job, Ian. What was it, 236? 236. Oh, wait. I'll try to do almost anything to avoid having to, you know, go look it up. Try one more, I think I saw. No, okay, fine. There we go. Ah, no. What? What? Bull. Oh, you're killing me. Come on. What is my password? You know what? Okay, fine. Fine. Oh, you're killing me. You're just absolutely killing me. Close the damn window. Why? Why is that not doing the thing it's supposed to do? There it goes. Oh, because it has to do it in an... Okay, whatever. Okay, let's try this. Whoa, what are you doing? There we go. You're killing me here. Alright, attach devices. Wait a minute. I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that. Damn it. Okay, you know what? Power it off. I don't know why I did that in the first place. I need to restart this, and it'll just tell me what its IP is. So let's do that. I may edit all of this out. If I edit all of this out, I guess I'll just close the video. Okay, 57. Wow. Where was I at? Okay. Let's see if there is a RN update. Notifications, new devices. Yeah, you don't want those devices. I mean, I know you think you want those devices, but you don't want those devices. No updates available. Okay. No updates available. That's a shame. Oh. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I put them on the network expecting them to pick up firmware updates, and they didn't have access to the internet. I didn't put them on the public network. Wow. That was dumb. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know what the best thing to do is. Do I release all of the prior stuff? Or do I go back? So if you're watching this, it's either an extra feature of some kind, or I decided to go ahead and let this go. Thank you for sticking with me this long. So far I've recorded a lot of video. So my next step is going to be, I'm going to go back into the bulbs, put them on the public network. So this is not a step that you would have to worry about. I may have made them incompatible by not giving them access to their firmware updates. So that's my fault. Boy, oh boy, and I sent a message out about it. That's great. Yeah. So let me switch back over to the private network here. or not. There it is. Okay, and then let's connect to the Duo and the Vintage. Let's put this, oops, it's not the internet. So I'm going to go ahead and let these connect to my actual Home Assistant because that's ultimately where I'm going to be using them. And this part of the process would be the same. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Oh, that's not the right one. So let's try 101. 2. Okay, there it is. I knew it was below the Home Assistant address. Okay, so now let's do the same thing over here. I'm going to switch this over to the other network. And then I'm just going to close that. And I'm going to kill that because I don't need it. I'm going to close that. And then let's open up my own browser. And let's go to, let's just go to Home Assistant. Oops, that is not the right one. I have too many networks. No, that's not true. You can't have too many networks. Oh, right. And it helps if I actually switch as well. Now, this network is not going to be happy about this. I am actually in the process of migrating off of this network most of my devices because I have too many for this set of devices, even though it is a multi-point mesh network. But I'm not done with that, and I'm probably not going to do a video on it because there would just be too much that I'd have to block out or not show anyway for security reasons for my own benefit. Okay, so now if I go into the notifications, I get nothing. Fine. But if I go to the router, I'm not going to show this part on screen. So here's me looking at the laptop and sitting next to the apartment simulator. Boy, this is taking a while. It does not like how many devices I have connected to it, but it can get over it. All right, 62, 58, 62. All right, 58 and 62. And back to the screen. 58. 62. Okay, very good. Now, let's, yes, there we go. Okay, we have firmware updates. That was my bad. If I've cut out the previous point of the video, when I first did this, I thought that the firmware was not compatible with Home Assistant. I was wrong. I forgot that I had put them on a network that did not, let's turn that down, that did not have internet. And I didn't think about that because normally when I set them up, I put them on a network that does. So that was completely my fault. And I'm going to have to post a thing to apologize to Shelly because I thought that they didn't update these devices when in fact they already had. So, excellent. Very easy to set up. Once you get them on the network and you go in and you update the firmware, then, as you will see, ta-da, in Home Assistant, new devices discovered. There's my Shelly Vintage. Submit. I'm not going to put it anywhere just yet. There's my Duo. Submit. Again, not going to put it anywhere right now. And there they are. And if I go, you know, to my overview to get to my unassigned stuff, where would it put them? Ah, here, light. Very good. I can do that sort of thing. Oh, look. And I can pick the color. That's marvelous. That's absolutely marvelous. I love that. I love that. This was what I was expecting to happen the first time around, and it would have if I wasn't doing a weird thing and would have just done this on my live network instead of setting up this little test network with a mostly broken router from 16 years ago. So yeah, great. All right, so let me look at the other one. So if I go over to this one, and it just has the dimmer, of course, right? Whoa, bright. Don't look at it while you do that. That was okay. So that makes me happy, and the plugs would be the same. You know what? Let me go ahead and just change one over. Why not? Oh, because my battery's about to die on my laptop. That's why not. Yeah. So there it is. The plugs are easy. You know, once you get them in and you get the firmware updated, boom, button, you get it in, you get the firmware, boom. The bulbs, you know, once you get any of these devices online and get their firmware updated, Home Assistant immediately picks them up. You just have to make sure you have internet on the network that you're putting them on. And don't be me first time around. Which is why I do this. I do this so you don't make the same mistakes, although you probably wouldn't be trying to set up a private network on a board. But that's okay. So there it is, your smart home solution for apartments or anytime you want to just smarten up an area without having to modify the wiring. This is the way to go. I really, 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 really love the Shelly products because they've been reliable in my own home. I've opened them. I've looked at the components. I like the components that they're made of. I like the configuration of the components insofar as I am aware of how they should be built. And they're cloudless. You don't have to have an app. They offer an app, and it's pretty neat as I understand it. I may even try it out one of these days. You know, I thought I wasn't going to try out Home Assistant, and I did, and I love it. Yeah, maybe I'll try out Shelly's app, especially if Home Assistant doesn't mind if I do that, like as far as the technology goes. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you've made it this far, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. This was a bumpy ride because I don't normally go off script to begin with, and I kind of jumped into a thing without really being as prepared as I thought I was, and missed a detail. But in the end, I still did this in a couple hours. I had to do a little bit of troubleshooting because I messed something up because I have a unique scenario. If you're just doing this on your regular network, you could have this done in less than an hour. You could have this many devices, twice as many devices. You could probably set up, a couple dozen devices in a day, and be well on your way to be setting up automations and scenes and that sort of thing. Although I don't use scenes. I do use automations, but I don't use scenes. And maybe I'll do another video on that sort of thing later. Anyway, again, thanks for listening to me ramble, and I do hope you'll join me for future videos as I continue building and exploring smarter circuits.